welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about 10 things that I personally would love to accomplish before I turn 35 years old. Some backstory on this is I'm currently 34. I turned 34 on April 6th. So I have about 227 days to kind of get my little list completed, but I think it's actually quite doable. I tried to think of meaningful things that are going to add value to my life, and maybe I'll look back on and say, hey, I did that, without being excessive. So number one, I had visit a museum. And I know that sounds really simple, but I haven't visited a museum since I was in grade school. I mean, even then I can't really remember, besides like science centers, going purposely to a museum to just spend the afternoon, nose around, learn some things, and really take it in without being glued to my phone. The idea of going to a museum is very like Sex and the City, Carrie Bradshaw, but also it's just something that I feel like I could immerse myself in some local culture. Number two, eating at a Michelin star restaurant. Hear me out. I am not a foodie. I wouldn't say I'm a foodie. I'm happy with a pizza pocket and a can of A&W root beer. However, the idea of going to a fancy restaurant and getting this teeny tiny little portion of like food wrapped up in like one flavor bomb does interest me. Now, of course, I know Michelin star restaurants can run very pricey. I will tell you that the idea of sitting at a table with like a select 12 people and eating a menu that your chef is like carefully curated for you, or, you know, fancy. I'm not a fancy person, so that does freak me out a tiny bit, but that's the whole point of the bucket list, is like pushing yourself out of your boundaries, things that you wouldn't normally do, and I think a Michelin star restaurant would be fun. Now, number three for me is maybe hopefully 2-in-1 with my little Michelin restaurant, but I want to try caviar. I had, for number three, try a new food in general, so I'm open to suggestions in the comments below, but generally speaking, I see caviar all the time, and on my Food Network programs that I watch and on YouTube, people talk about caviar like it's like candy. I'm kind of curious. So number four for me is take more physical photos. I got this for Christmas last year, and it's really cool. I'll show you. You turn it on. It does have an app, and I just think, take it into the thing. Should have been like, oh, watch flash photography, but it prints out, and then I take it out and I cover it really quick because it needs to not have exposure to light for 20 minutes. But this thing at Christmas was really fun, and these ones are great because you kind of get it in real time. You know, you don't have to like position it or make sure you get like good angles, or it's just candid. It's just how they did it in the 70s or the 80s, or, you know, back in the times were simpler. So take more physical photos. Number five is a personal vendetta, I would say, for myself. I want to learn how to make macarons. I love the Great Canadian Bake Off. Editing Brittany here. When I was editing this little part, I called the Great Canadian Baking Show the Great Canadian Bake Off. And that is because there's a show called the Great British Bake Off, which I also like. So I got them intertwined. I do apologize. But the Macaron seems to constantly make appearances on these shows, and they're little feeties with their smooth, silky cookie, and that cream inside just looks delectable. Alternatively, I watch as well is the Kids Baking Championships on Food Network, and the kids can do it. I feel like I can do it. So again, any tips you have for me if you've made them, like, please comment below. So the next one is get a tattoo, but hear me out, or a permanent bracelet, something meaningful with my sister. I only have one sister, and she drives me nuts. If she's watching, hello Mallory. But she is my sissy, and I think out of everybody or anyone in the world that I could get a tattoo with, it would be with my sister. She loves them. She has quite a few of them. But even just like a little, like, maybe like a little one that just says like sister, or we call each other sissy, so maybe sissy. I just think that that's really special, and she's been asking me for quite a while to get one done, and I'm always saying, no. I have tattoos already and I feel like I'm done getting tattoos. But I do think if I made an exception for one more, it would be for my sissy. So next on my list is quite possibly the most important one to me, and that's to buy something from my childhood. I was your typical 90s kid. I mean, I was around 7 or 8 in like 97, 98. I was born in 1990. So like, I am a 90s girl through and through, and we had the best toys. I'm sorry, but we did. We had really good toys, from the Pound Puppies to the Puffkins. Remember Puffkins? Like, obviously TY Beanie Babies, also Keepins. Do you remember these things? I had so many of these, and I'm trying to, like, when you look back, Polly Pockets. The other day I ran into this Polly Pocket, and I was like, yeah, I remember the little hot air balloon that went up and down and it lit up, and I don't know, those things sparked nostalgic memories for me and really good memories. I really want to just, get something from my childhood that I can kind of keep, and if I have children someday, I can pass it along, or maybe I just keep it for myself as a memory of the good old days. So next is take a sushi making class. That's right, I want to take one. I laugh because I am not an adventurous sushi eater, okay? Like, you might be able to get me to have the California roll, but generally speaking, I like my sweet potato roll or my teriyaki chicken. And for all you sushi lovers, don't be yelling at me saying that that's not real sushi. I'm trying. I could even maybe get on board with a spicy salmon roll, but I would love to learn how to make it. You see all the time, like, really good gifting ideas is sushi making kits. And while that's, a great gift to give somebody, I would love to know how to actually use it. So number 9 is going out to dinner alone. Like, that to me is a very scary thought. I can't imagine sitting down and ordering for one, and people do it all the time. And those people, to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, good for you. I never thought I could, only because I care too much what people think of me. I've gotten so much better. Don't get me wrong. In my 30s especially, I've gotten so much better about not caring what people think. There's people who don't have anyone in this life and they have no choice. If they want to take themselves out, they take themselves out. There's people who choose to have a date night with themselves, which I think is very healthy. And I just think that would be really cool to experience, to take myself out to dinner. And finally, number 10, I want to make a list of things that I've accomplished in my life. Now, 35 is young. Don't get me wrong. I know it's young. I have my whole life ahead of me. But sometimes when we get in our own heads about things that we want to do and where we want to go, we forget where we came from or what we did in our life. And sometimes if you take a step back and you look at that and you're like, oh, I did that. I mean, even for myself, I've driven cross country by myself. I've moved provinces alone, all by myself. I've done a lot. I've done a lot of things independently in my life, and I just want to write a list of those things to remind myself that even if I don't accomplish anything on my little 35 bucket list, then that's okay. Like, I've accomplished so much other things, and like those items that I just listed don't define my success going forward into 35 and beyond. There's still lots of time. There's lots of gas in the tank, and you can't get hung up on what you didn't accomplish. Like, let's talk about what we did accomplish, And I really wanted to add a bonus in here, just like a number 11 kind of thing, because there's something that I would really like to do, but not necessarily before I'm 35, just in general. But I really want to do a hot air balloon ride. I know it's expensive. Okay, I've seen the cost. In Ontario, it's around $250 to $300 per person. But it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing, and I just think it would be so special to do a hot air balloon ride. That is something that's so like niche, is to say you've been in a hot air balloon. I don't suspect I'll do that before I turn 35 next April, but a girl can dream. Also, it's something I can work towards and save up for, and yeah. And it's funny because when I was thinking about it, I was like, do I want to even experience that with anyone? And the answer is yes, I guess, but that might be kind of something to do that, like, it would be something fun to do alone as well. So yeah, a hot air balloon ride. So, you know, this is just a little list. I really want you to make this. I have 8 months ahead of me to accomplish them. So yeah, that's my list. It's just kind of a fun video to do. I feel like for me, it's like a personal journal to myself, like, hey, Britt, do these things. But it sparked a joy to make the list because it was like, oh, this would be cool. Oh, this would be good. And I feel like if I have a list, maybe I'd be more inclined to actually do them, do that little cross off thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below. Have you done anything with a bucket list? Is there anything in general that you would just like to accomplish? Or the things that I mentioned, have you already done? Have you been on a hot air balloon ride? Have you made sushi? Do you know how to make sushi? Any tips for making sushi? Let me know, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.